Guys, welcome back. My name is Q, and we're gonna go through and walk through the second series in our second video in our series of all the things and kind of walking through the add-on process. Last time we covered all the appearance modes and everything kind of tied to that. Today we'll be going through like which things do you want to track. So I'll run down through each of the lists. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we'll walk through it anyway, and then I'll kind of go through and show you why I have my settings set the way we do. So, as it is, a lot of it's pretty straightforward. You know, you have your achievements here. You can decide whether or not to collect them account-wide or, per character. I tend to collect mine account-wide. The way it would work out is like, say, for example, if you had a DK or a warrior, and on the DK you had, I don't know, we'll say explored all of Elwyn Forest. If you were tracking it per character, then you would have to do the same thing on the warrior as well. If it's account-wide, it applies to, if you get it on the DK or the warrior, it applies to both. Pretty self-explanatory, but there it is. Appearances, transmogs, everything that are more or less tied to that. Azerite Essences, for those that aren't familiar with BFA, BFA had a lot of essences, and these are being tracked and then tracked account-wide. Same thing with your pet battles and your companions as well, because that includes stuff that are technically pets but aren't technically battle pets, like your balloons or whatever. So there's that. There's your flight paths if you care to do so. Various stations included with that because you have those in BFA. Followers, champions, so these are your guys from Warlords of Draenor, Legion, BFA, and everybody that's that you've collected along the way for those garrisons, the order halls, and then whatever it's called to be on a ship. Your heirloom items as well. Your illusions, these are your illusions, the transmog appearances that appear on the weapon. Same thing there. A lot of this stuff is naturally account-wide. If you go through and you earn a cloak, you're going to have that cloak available on all 12 classes, assuming there's no sort of like class restrictions. But same thing with your mounts. Music rolls they get to be a little bit different. So music rolls, they're character specific in-game, meaning that if I go back to the warrior in the DK scenario, if I get music roll 1 on the DK, I cannot listen to it on music roll, I cannot listen to it on the warrior in his garrison. So I'd have to go through and get it on the warrior as well. As a community, we've kind of decided that we were going to just track it account-wide. If I want to hear the song for whatever reason, I'll just hop on that character that has a music roll and just be done with it. Some of these music rolls are extremely low drop rates, so it's just kind of unnecessary to go through and collect it 12 times for no real benefit. The other thing with it, just as you're collecting those, make sure that you have your jukebox in your garrison. Otherwise, some of the music rolls will not drop. So just make sure you have that quest done. Quests, we'll come back to this one, but because this will make a little bit more sense. Recipes, same thing. Recipes account-wide. This is going to be really beneficial to have it account-wide because there's certain reputation gates. There's certain other gates where you won't be able to get all of a profession's recipes on one character. Say, for example, like engineering. If I have engineering on we'll say a mage, then I won't be able to get the shaman-specific engineering recipe or the paladin-specific engineering recipe from Sunwell on that character. So that's one of the reasons that we've kind of gone through and decided to collect it account-wide as well. So I'll have a couple different engineers, and they'll all just kind of collectively chase down the recipes. Reputations, same thing. This one makes more sense because the 100 rep achievement in order to get the Pure Heart Corsair, I think it is, that one is naturally account-wide, so there's no reason really to track that character specific. Selfie filters are similar to music rolls in the sense that they're specific to that character in-game, but just because of their level of importance and relevance, we've kind of decided that it's just best to, if you get it on one character, you're done. Don't worry about it. Titles, most titles are account-wide, so it was pretty natural just to select account-wide for this one. Toys as well. Most toys don't have too many restrictions outside of like your faction bases and stuff like that. But going back to quests, so a lot of times as I stream or whatever the case may be, I'll get questions of why don't I track quests? What about all the recipes from quests or the transmogs or the mounts or stuff like that? Um, this is the mounts, the recipes, the transmogs are already being tracked. So what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll pull up all the things over here. There we go. I'll pull in that way. And so if we pull in, say, quests within Dunmorrow, so we'll pull this up. So if we take a look at this, right now I'm showing all my collected things. Otherwise, this would look, 100% complete. So I'm just kind of going through and showing what I already have essentially. Um, so what's happening with this at the moment is that there's two reasons why I don't track quests. Number one is that if outside of all the transmog drops and stuff like that, all the remaining quests outside of it are just useless quests. They have very little benefit. So for example, this quest right here, Bound for Keranos, is simply going through and bringing the sample cast from one NPC to another for 17 silver and maybe 318 XP. Nobody cares whether or not you have that quest done. So we've decided as a community to more or less just kind of exclude that. Keep in mind though, in all of this, this is just our settings. If there's no wrong way to collect pixels in a video game, so if you would prefer to do every single quest in the game, by all means have fun. But this is just kind of going through and explaining, my settings and kind of how we've come to this conclusion type of thing. That follows the same line of thought when it comes to the flight paths and the ferry stations as well, is that there's no real tangible meta achievement or benefit that comes from getting all the flight paths. Like say for example, if there's 102 flight paths, if I get all 102, there's not an achievement for that, or there's not a reward of a toy or something like that. So those just don't get tracked. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? I've never been asked, Kuhn, do you have all, 102 flight paths on all 12 characters? It just, nobody cares, among all the other things in the game. So the other reason, though, that I don't track quests, among the useless ones that really don't have that much of a tangible benefit, there's also these right here that are very specific to certain criteria, meaning that, let's say, for example, I complete this Bound for Keranos quest. If I complete this, then I won't be able to go through and pick up this quest. So if I was going through and I was trying to get every quest in the game, I'd have to go through and make a new character, take it into that zone, make sure that I do not complete this quest before trying to acquire this quest. So there's also that to take into account as well. But you'll notice that even when the quest is unselected, we still are tracking our transmogs, right? We still have the appearances from the gloves, the belt, everything else like that. And the same will be true if we switched it to account mode. We'd go through and we'll see everything. We have all the appearances here as well. So that's kind of what's being made mention of. So for example, once again, learn to ride. If we've already gone through and we've already learned how to ride, we're never going to get this quest from that zone. So little things like that, we've just kind of opted not to worry about. So if we go back, I'm going to go back to my default settings here, but that is in total the which things do you want to track. And next time we'll cover everything on the right hand side of this list here, and then we'll kind of progress to the rest of the add-on. But I at least wanted to break down the all the things add-on section by section. That way it's easier to navigate for you guys. So that being said, that'll be the end of this one. So thank you guys. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. All right, guys.